Chronicles. This is a global forum for conversations with partnership leaders in B2B tech, where we specifically talk about topics related to partner data, partner insights, and partner intelligence. And today is a very special episode. Our topic, the title is Partner Intelligence Revolution, and we're calling it because the workforce today, and every one of you who's working in partnerships and channel and B2B technology, are needing to grasp and understand and embrace partner intelligence to become a channel leader of the future, a partner leader of the future. And it's an interesting time where technology has grown and changed and modernized to facilitate partner intelligence better. In the past, we really, as a sector, didn't have access to partner intelligence in the ways we have today. And so who better to talk about it than is someone who is the channel influencer of the year, the partnership leaders, innovator, influencer, pioneer, so to speak. Someone who everyone knows in our sector by the name of Jay, but someone who's very special to me in that, my husband's name is Jay, but day to day, during the day, if anyone says the word Jay, we know they're talking about Jay McBain. And Jay McBain is that literally awarded the Channel Influencer of the Year award. He is the Chief Analyst for Channels, Partnerships, and Ecosystems for Canalys, which is now powered by Informa. Congratulations. And Canalys is the leading channel research agency in North America, consulting practice, as well as being an integral part of the worldwide channel research and advisory world and the landscape. And when you have Jay McBain as the market research analyst on your team, you become the leading analyst firm of the channel and partnership ecosystems in B2B tech. So Jay, it's really our pleasure to welcome you. You know, besides that you are an analyst, one reason you are so strong at being an analyst is that you were already in the channel. You were in positions at IBM and Lenovo, and you've been in it for more than 30 years yourself as you've evolved into this analyst who you are today. And you couple that hands-on expertise and experience with being able to go around the world talking to the leading partner teams and channel leaders and emerging growth companies that are deploying channels into their business processes. And I don't think there's anyone out there who could even top that, compared to, what you've accomplished so far. So I really want to thank you for joining us today and for sharing your perspectives on partner intelligence. So why don't I hand it over to you? Welcome, and I'll give you a chance to give us your background, why we're calling this the urgent wake-up call for chief partnership officers.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I always enjoy these chats with you that we've had over the years. As an analyst, nothing could be closer to my heart than data and insights. One part of my history that you didn't put up is that I actually failed a startup, raised a bunch of millions of dollars and tried to solve a data insights problem and didn't. And one of the mistakes we made, the biggest fatal mistake we made, was this assumption on maturity level, that there was a bunch of buyers out there, let's say at a maturity level 7, that could use some layers of AI, could use some advanced data, could really take it and take them to a 7 to a 9 or 10. It was the icing on the cake. But when we got out in the market and talked to hundreds and then thousands of channel chiefs, we got this feeling that everybody seemed to be self-reporting themselves as a maturity level 3. And so what does that mean when you're talking to even some of the biggest, most respected channel programs like the Microsofts and Cisco's of the world, where partners would say over 43 years, these have been really good programs. And the people that work there are like, yeah, well, I don't think we're that good. I think we can do better. So yeah, that's part of my history too. So for 30 years, this has been near and dear to my heart. If we advance the slide, I always talk about kind of numbers and the levels of data, and I'm just going to kind of go through the examples of data. So when you dig into this industry and you dig into the hardware, the software, the services, 73.1% of almost the $5 trillion that businesses and governments spend go to, through, and with partners. If you start to measure more activities surrounding that buyer, the average buyer has 7 partners they trust. it's closer to, 100%. So Microsoft, for example, is at the point now where 96% of their business is measured as partner assist. Next slide. And when you talk about partners and you break down what any company and all the people that are tuned in on LinkedIn and other places, you look at your market TAM, and your CEO and your board knows probably within, how many billions of dollars that is and how many customers and where they are. But they're getting smarter now and asking us smarter questions around the available market, the obtainable market. If you're going to sell donuts or coffee, you got to put a restaurant and franchise on every street corner. The same thing in our business. If 73% of our industry goes to and through partners, where are those points of sale? How do I set up all the layers of that? And then how do I get to the point where not only am I representing the sale of my product and all the places that could happen, marketplaces, direct, indirect, all as channels, but I'm also looking at those other 6 people that surround my customer that are trusted, that never show up at the point of sale, but are incredibly important. Next slide. So we start to look at a bigger channel than ever before. Every company in every industry is becoming a tech company. We know that. Every professional services firm are following them. You have hundreds of thousands of digital agencies that call on CMOs, for example. In many companies, the CMO now spends more money on technology than the CIO. And for the people that are surrounding them, 78% of digital agencies are now tech services companies. So if you're trying to sell into a particular buyer, there's a good chance that they may earn one of those 7 trusted seats. We have all kinds of partners that wake up every day trying to get into one of those 7 trusted seats around every single buyer, inside every buying journey. This creates a lot more data than just that older kind of resell point of sale data we had in the past. Sales in, sales out, end user sales, the things we've lived on for decades. Next slide. So when you kind of look at it a layer deeper than that, and this is where PartnerOptimizer plays, and this is the level of detail, and this is usually where people come back to that maturity level 3. You start to look at your partners, and you have a spreadsheet of how much they sold this quarter, last year, where they are on your gold, silver, bronze program and things. But if I ask you the question, what buyer do they specialize in? Or are they somewhat neutral? What industry, 27 or 297 sub-industries, makes up most of their resume? Do you know the answer to that question? Are they in mid-sized banks? Are they in, pharmaceutical? Are they, somewhere buried in cybersecurity? Where are they in different sub-industries? Around the world, we kind of know within 50 miles what the headquarters location, but where are they? Are they truly global partners? Are they regional? Are they, narrow to, 2 or 3 streets in a major city? Are they focused on SMB, mid-market, enterprise, government, health, education? What market segments and sectors? If they are SMB, is it 1 to 9, 10 to 24, 25 to 49, 50 to 99, 100 to 249? I mean, these are all very different conversations. Selling to a flower shop versus a 499 is like selling to a consumer versus Fortune 500. Very, very different just in one segment. The products and services making up that $5 trillion, a partner may just be expert in 1 or 2 areas. So they're not ready to sell your entire portfolio or to service your entire portfolio. They may be very, very specific. And then business models. They could be a managed service provider. There's now 335,000 companies that have one managed contract. It's a $500 billion business. They could be project-based. They could be product-led growth. There's 20 different models. So if you ask these 6 questions, there's now billions of permutations. If they serve mid-sized banks in Inverness, Scotland, in front of a marketing buyer, this is really interesting. And the next time a deal comes along in that kind of way, it would be great to work with a partner like that. But almost no one I talk to in my life, and I've talked to tens of thousands of people a year, have anywhere that level of granularity and insight about where and how your potential partners and your current partners overlap your TAM, your SAM, your SOM. Next slide. So then you go a layer deeper and you look inside every one of those customer journeys. there are hundreds of potential services that they could be charging for. In green, the 28 moments before the decision is made, all of the consulting, the design, the architecture, the configurations, the pricing, the quoting, right down to the early stage ebooks and podcasts and events, and the things that shape how the deal is going to be procured and provisioned happen there. Partners are charging for these services at this point, and customers are recognizing the benefits of those 7 trusted partners in those early stages. You have the average deal today that is 7 layers deep. So the average hyperscaler deal, cloud, is 7 layers. The average SaaS deal today, a Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday, HubSpot kind of deal, is 7 layers. The average security deal today is 7 layers. So in the point of procurement, there is a stack that's being built and configured, implemented, integrated together. And then long-term, all kinds of managed services and things. So in a subscription consumption model, which pretty well every company in the world is moving towards, from your toothbrush to your car to all parts of hardware, software, and services are in these recurring models, getting the customer to the dance, getting them on the dance floor, and then keeping them dancing all night long generates mountains of data and mountains of strategies in terms of how to handle and attribute that data back to the source and be able to quantify how important that moment was before, during, or after the transaction and relate it back. Next slide. So what we're coming up to now is these points before, during, and after the transaction, all of the technology alliances. We now have, by the end of next year, a millennial-led buyer by age, but also by quantity, by budget, a different psychology, different behavior. So the way they look in partnerships, they see this as a team sport. So how we measure all these moments and how we measure the partners inside those moments and how we can kind of quantify and monetize those and incent, motivate, drive loyalty around these moments. I mean, everything is changing at once. And this is a data problem. And the data that we had before is exponentially harder to drive consistency. And when we get into the conversation of language models, generative AI, tuning, we got to build these data lakes. And we got to build them with much more data than we've had in the past. Driving insights out of it is harder than ever. Next slide. The programs are also changing. This looks like a more generic linear program where you have 100 different elements that all generate data about a partner, about a situation, about a customer. And all of these different elements of your program coming together to provide intelligence on how you work forward. But guess what? 35,000 vendors, calling into Canalys are asking about point systems. Instead of just a linear point of sale, gold, silver, bronze program, wouldn't it be great to have a co-sell program? We just published research yesterday on what that means to measure all the non-transacting moments and apply points, which in turn applies money to those things to get that customer, into that situation. We heard from AWS last week that their marketplace, which is now a top 10 distributor in the world, there's 4 different companies selling $1 billion now through it. 30% of those deals are partners clicking buy on behalf of the customer. So they're not a reseller. They don't earn front and back end margin, but they have their finger on the trigger, literally. And they need, whether it's private offers and all the different elements here, they need these elements, but transferred a different way. But you need the data, intelligence, insights to be able to do that. Next slide. The routes to market are changing as well. In a linear sense, you had linear distribution, tier 2 partner to customer. And now we have 7 layers of conversation. I just talked about marketplaces, but we've got telco that's coming in strong. We've got all kinds of activity around digital point of sale that's also changing, which is exponentially increasing the amount of data we get as well, that we got to start managing from different sources. There's no over distribution really in a subscription consumption world. This is a place where you're not moving hardware around the world and supply chain. This is in a lot of cases where you're actually piecing together emerging tech and software and other things. And then finally, last slide, bringing it all together. I mean, we have 233 companies now that are out issuing data. They're doing specific, interesting things, and they're helping vendors work with partners at scale, those 7 partners. There's 5 new ecosystem categories in the last couple of years that are growing exponentially fast. But all of these logos are now creating a massive, and you see the water in behind, it's creating a massive data lake, massive data warehouse. And before we even get to the conversation of generative AI and language models, we have to start containing all of this and building that 360-degree intelligence around every partner, every customer, every situation, every deal. Get predictive, get prescriptive in what we do. And this industry, which is at a maturity level 3, how do we move to a 4 or 5? Let's not start talking about ChatGPT or start talking about Bard or Genesis and these things. Those are 7, 8 maturity conversations. We got to start back at the basic blocking and tackling here and have this conversation. Dina?
Yep. I love what you're saying, and I love that you are giving us a big picture view, but then it comes down to people are at that level 3, not because it's their fault, but because we haven't had access to data in the past, right? But now it's time to not resist, but embrace that partner intelligence that they can have. And, from our perspective, as you know, we built a data mining tool that goes out through the web and brings back all of this partner DNA that enables you to look at all of those business attributes about partners so that you can enrich your database, so that you can find new partners through PartnerOptimizer based upon your ideal partner profile or strategy. And so that you can see at a granular level, at a level 3, right? The types of insights that you didn't have access to before, and then compound them into bigger insights that can lead you to strategic decisions, right? And so my question for you is, everyone is using the words AI. Everyone is using the words intelligence. What are the truly most important ways that our channel community, our partnership leaders can embrace intelligence without potentially falling asleep, without trying to get so into it or thinking that they need to learn and grasp so much?
Yeah, I think we separate the 2 concepts. I mean, AI, for most of us, almost all of us, is going to show up in the products we use. If we're, for example, like the first use case, the first use case though is really, through channel marketing, where you're marketing to, through, and with partners. If there's a little button there that can generate a hyper local, hyper personalized email, hi Dina, I saw, what you were doing this weekend. That's fantastic. How's Jay doing now that I know your husband's name is the same as mine? But, and then like by paragraph 3, start bringing in some very specific decimal point level data along with the email. So it's not just a generic thing we send to 1,000 partners. Exactly. It's talking to you. And there's just a use case there that's ready to go. And all the companies that are in that space are, quickly putting that button in. Then you start to look at every other island of innovation, and all of them will grow with generative AI. I mean, it's a groundbreaking generational technology, and we all can do better with co-pilots. And I think co-pilots, can take us from a maturity level 5, 6 to a 7, 8, 9. So the point though, right now, is the intelligence piece is I don't even think we're ready for what generative AI could do, because we haven't structured our data in a way that's, first of all, clean. First of all, in a way that is accessible by these systems. Right now it's unstructured. So we all know that
in most places,
each of our end customers and each of our partners, we probably have them 17 times in different systems with a different comma or a different period or a LLC or something behind them. We don't even have data today that we trust, that we can even start.
Well, I'll tell you, in partner databases, a lot of people don't even know what the domain names of the companies are that are their partners. They don't realize that 17 to 23% of those domains are either dead or they've changed and redirect somewhere else now.
Yeah, and like a phone number, a domain is something that's unique. It's a unique identifier in data. Mm-hmm. No 2 companies can have the same domain. No 2 companies can have the same phone number. No 2 companies can have the same LinkedIn company URL. So we're getting to a point now with external and internal data sources that we do have these unique identifiers. But if we have that same partner data in 17 different places, what's the project to go and pull all that together, given different identifiers? One of the challenges is, as a program matures and you start to bring in more third-party companies to run, let's say, incentives type of things and other types of things within your program, that company, that SaaS company, will assign a new unique identifier to each partner. And that unique identifier doesn't link to their domain, doesn't link to whatever identifier you have. And no one has a Dun & Bradstreet number. I mean, it's very difficult to get all of this hundreds of containers of data and actually put them together in that way. And so that's a maturity level 3 problem.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to a 4 or 5, to even start thinking about, more deeper insights and Power BI and Tableau and deeper tools that we have maybe in our broader company, we have to start at the beginning.
Yeah. And I think also speak toward ecosystem, right? Because historically, because of the lack of intelligence available, channel teams will look at what did the partner do in revenue last year and say, well, that's what I'm going to predict they're going to do in revenue next year, and that's what my program can do. Can I expand that partner by a little more? And as opposed to looking at the broader, wider propensity of different types of partners to be able to drive revenue if you just knew who they were, right?
Yeah. There's a single problem with the whole spreadsheet sorted by last year's revenue, is that it doesn't tell us much, if anything at all.
Yep.
One thing is it doesn't tell us the magic number, which is wallet share. If I'm driving $1 million out of $100 million partner in my category, I have 1% market share. I'm getting killed. They're selling $1 million because customers are demanding it, not because they want to sell it. If I'm selling $1 million to a partner that does 1.2 million in my category, I'm killing it. But in the spreadsheet, they look side by side. They both look like $1 million gold partners. So, I mean, wallet share is something that I would be lined up at PartnerOptimizer to go figure out quick.
Exactly. Right.
The second thing is, now, once we're past the resell and what they're capable of, if I'm going to say that $1 million partner is going to go do 1.5 this year, but they only did 1.2 as a category, they probably aren't. That's who they are. And you should celebrate them for having 95% market share, because they lead with you every day. They really are your gold partner. And if you could help them get to 1.5, that'd be awesome. But let's not just say that we're going to easily, intercept, new business. But again, to the next level conversation is, where does that partner participate in those first 28 moments? Where do they participate around the point of sale to enrich, upsell, cross-sell what we do, other parts of our portfolio, for example? Let's look at other categories. Or every 30 days forever. Are they that managed service provider that's there every 30 days? Are they the implementer integrator that's going to make it sticky and create a customer for life? Those are measurements that I want to know about that partner. Because I'm probably, if they're really good, I'm underpaying that partner. If they're doing deals in our sleep, they're marketing, they're selling, they're doing the engineering, and we're winning these deals as bluebirds, I'm underpaying that partner. The reason I'm underpaying them, because 43 years, we've had to pay an average margin. To those really good partners, we're underpaying. And then there's a whole set of partners we're overpaying.
Exactly.
Because guess what? They did nothing in the first 28 moments. They showed up at the last second in the RFP. They came $1 less because they had no cost. So they came $1 less than everybody. The customer chose them. And then by the time they've collected the money, they're off into the night. They don't stick around for anything. So now you've just paid them that average margin, and it's a broken system. I would rather break down that point of sale margin and spread that money like peanut butter. Oh, you did an ebook? Great, $5,000. Oh, you did a little event? Awesome. Demo? Neat. You did the configuration, you did the consult? Awesome. Once you're along, oh my God, you're keeping that customer for life. I would double up my payments. Like, where I would have paid you 20% margin, I'd pay you 40% of the deal, because you've literally taken all the SG&A away and given me a customer for life. That's the holy grail of partnerships. I don't have the data today.
Right.
Or I don't have the accumulation or the consolidation of that data to actually tell me what kind of partner this is beyond their wallet share.
Exactly. There's also this side of how aligned are they already with your competition? You may be going after them like crazy. But if you look at the data, which we can surface, you might see, they're already 80% in bed with your top competitor. And if they're that loyal and that connected in, and you didn't realize that, you're wasting a lot of your best people's time and resources and incentives and everything on someone that can never activate because they've already committed and invested in their program. Yep.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, you know what, Jay, this conversation, I think we could spend hours together on because there's so much, but we're going to move on to a couple of little things to, take it to the next level and talk about how PartnerOptimizer is actually facilitating channel teams to be able to get more insight into their partners at a very granular level at a lot of those areas and buckets of data that you spoke about, and even some that you didn't speak about. And so what the platform does at PartnerOptimizer is, number one, it discovers new partners. We love that table that you created, or that chart of all the partners out there in the world. We love to call it sort of the blob. And we consider it a source of truth that we're trying, and we're profiling partners of all of those types in order to allow companies to define and find their broader ecosystem, but also their very narrow and specific ecosystem that's working really well. We have profiled over 600,000 partners to date, and it keeps on growing every day. You can enrich and segment and qualify your own partners by uploading their domain names, that's a unique identifier, as a list into the platform. And it will score and rank them compared to an ideal partner profile query, or based upon whatever you need to build a campaign on, whether it's any of those segmentation or solution types and expertise or partner programs. We'll go into that in the next slide. You can also research your total addressable market for the first time ever and be able to score and rank partners in the world, but also in your partner program based upon how they match. And you can track your own partner's brand alignment and how much they're promoting you and aligned with you in a digital fashion compared to everything else. You can also leverage the profile data in your communications to make those custom targeted communications and content and outreach, and talk with them instead of at them. That's a huge differential there. And you can also track partner changes. So if a partner has gone away and their domain is redirecting, boom, you know that now, and you better talk to them to make sure that any of their customers that are yours are going to be remaining yours. So there's so many pieces of data and intelligence that can be brought up through our Pipe platform. Next slide. These are the points of data that you can actually sort based upon in a very hyper searchable way. And I won't go into every detail here, but we divide them into 4 buckets that contain about 16 to 20 different ways you can search, and you can combine them all. And it narrows down for you those perfect partner matches to your query based upon the persona of the company, not a person. You want to make sure that that company is the right company. Even if you like the person that you know at the company, they may not be the right company. And that's a critical factor. You can take someone to the ballgame and have a great time, but if they don't have the company that has the right qualifications to do business with you, you've wasted your company's time and your money. Customer focus insights. So you want those partners to have the same ICP as you do. That's critical. If they're not selling to the right buyer, to the right consumer of your product, then again, that's not the right partner for you. A way to validate that is, do they have the right tech stack? Are they selling other products and solutions that would also sell to the same ideal customer as you? So you can learn that, and you can learn what those products are, and even go and partner with those other companies and products to have a better integration and better solution for your own partners. And additional qualifications like, what compliances and certifications and competencies you have, and what partner programs they're already committed to. And by seeing that commitment and loyalty and propensity, you know so much more about a partner just by looking at this data. Next slide. This is an example. It's a little hard to see here, but if you can learn individually about every single partner based upon their top attributes, right? And they go granular. Like this one you can see is very focused and aligned toward AWS and security. And, I can't even see it down here, but you can see how they match to your ideal partner profile by having a tab there that compares it to your query. And there, those business attributes that you can use to market to them. This is what we have in common. This is what our best partners have in common with us, and therefore you should be a good partner too. This is actually a slide that shows you how you can drive revenue faster, because we're going to show you right away which of your partners, whether they're in your own partner database or net new, which ones are excellent, which ones are very good, good, and maybe, and which ones are not a match, so that you don't spend time on the wrong partners, but you put your time and resources into the right ones. And I guarantee you, you're going to find deals and revenue that come by you much faster. And we're proving it with a lot of our customers. This is partner intelligence at a higher level for strategy and planning of your partner program. So imagine on the left side, you're looking at your best performing partners and their vertical focus. And then you compare it to all of your partners. Well, right here, you're learning that your best partners are focused on banking and financial, but amongst all the partners you recruited, only 44% of them are focused on banking and financial. Well, you can find those right away within the data, within the search, and pull those 44% forward, and you now have a campaign and know who to activate right there, because you know your best partners are focused on banking and financial, and you can tell them about it. And on the flip side, you say, look at all those partners you have in professional services and say, do you keep them? And do you build a better program for them to activate? Or will your product never actually serve them and get rid of them? So you can be strategic and intentional right there. So we're running out of time. This is just a little table. Thanks, Kerry, for showing how you can analyze how your own partners or any partner is digitally promoting and loyal to your brand versus competition. And if you look at the third one from the left, bar none, well, that one is super loyal to HPE, as you can learn here from our data. Whereas you can look at the one on the far right, which is also an HPE partner, but they're not showing a whole lot of loyalty to HPE. They're really aligned with Cisco. So, imagine knowing this about your own partners, your own partner prospects. It would impact how you strategically go and activate or engage or even keep them and award them and incentivize the good ones. And so think about how partner intelligence is now available at your fingertips to make strategic decisions. So to be able to learn more about PartnerOptimizer's partner intelligence, you can scan this and set up a demo, whatnot. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my emails here. And Jay, thank you so much for being part of this. I don't know if you want to say anything more at this point on partner intelligence, but I wish I could keep you on another hour.
No, I'm thinking about 2024. I mean, we're a few weeks through the holiday season here. There's a project next year on wallet share. Get a column beside the revenue. There's another project on what we'll call the return on invested capital, kind of the hand-holding you need to do to get to that revenue, and which of those partners are closing deals in your sleep. Then there's a third project here, which is that wraparound, that intelligence, which is capacity, capabilities, and coverage models. And you're going to see gaps in all those areas, both geographically, by industry, those 6 vectors that I showed. Those are 3 projects that I would be teeing up for 2024.
Totally agree. So let me ask you on that front. I mean, I know from our standpoint, working with us, you don't need a lot of budget, right? But for partner executives who need to go and ask for budget, how would you suggest that they position those asks and allow themselves to get their arms around more data?
Yeah, I think there's a financial conversation in all 3. If you show that wallet share story and you show that gap between that partner that, with a little bit more attention, could double their revenue with you overnight, that's a really strong conversation with the CRO and obviously with the CFO. When you have that conversation about return on invested capital, let's work with those partners who do more in our sleep, and let's work less with the ones that we have to double up SG&A for. Mm-hmm. That's a really good conversation with the CFO. And this partner intelligence for every one of your sales leaders around the world, industry-based folks, let's go win banking. Let's go win that bank in Inverness, Scotland. I know exactly how to do it. I know who to work with. I know the 7 partners that wrap around that customer. We're actively working to team up to go win that. Let's win it together. Those are 3 really strong board level conversations, C-suite conversations that are different than, hey, let's go throw a bigger party and let's throw more into spiffs and see what happens this quarter.
Right. Well, here's another one too. You will make your partner salespeople so much happier because you're going to be giving them the right partners to work with and talk to, and they're going to be more successful and drive more revenue themselves. And so if you are one of those partner salespeople, I would really, push for that intel, because we know how much you hate calling prospects and reaching out to prospects that don't even want to hear from you. We just want to help everyone's career in the channel, and partner intelligence makes that difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, great. I think, thank you. I think this comes to conclusion, and we're going to take a little break during the holidays, but on January 1st, we're going to be back, and we're going to be back with another great industry leader, thought leader, expert in partner data, someone who a lot of people know, named Asher Matthew. He is the CEO of the organization called Partnership Leaders, which is a rapidly growing organization with incredible people that are helping partnership people grow in their careers and understand the new paradigm of how to work in channel and partnerships. And we're going to be talking about the secret fourth pillar of partner success, obviously people, process, technology, and data. And for those of you who don't know anything about Asher, he too was a founder entrepreneur in a data company. So he is extremely adept on the topic as well. And besides being a very engaging and well versed in everything we talk about here, he too can really tell you from his perspective what it's like to bring data into your practice.
Can you also ask him about his AI generated headshot?
Right. He looks adorable. So, Asher, we're looking forward to having you and representing Partnership Leaders when you're here. And Jay, have a very happy holiday season. We look forward to working with you and leveraging your ideas and feedback and guidance in the year ahead. And thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.